I'll find out what she wants.
What's happening in California? We're here in Lomita, California. We're coming to see Oscar Gallardo. He's the owner of One Stop Shop here in Lomita. And we're here to talk to Oscar about immigration. Oscar is Latino American, Hispanic. 95% of his employees are Hispanic. And we're going to get his point of view and his ideas about this immigration law and what we can do to find a happy medium between the Democrats and the liberals to find a solution for this immigration problem. Let's go talk to Oscar.
Hola, señor Mavrick, ¿cómo está? Bienvenido.
Thanks for having me down here. I appreciate you coming and talking with me a little bit about the problems of California, things that you faced, you know, coming here, starting a business, and the changes that need to occur, you know, for California in 2018. And one of the big debates out there right now is immigration. And I thought, what better person to come than from you, from a man who started a business. 95% of your employees are Latino. I think 70% of them fall under the DACA guidelines, and I just want to get your take on that, what you feel about where you feel it's going, and then share a little bit of my ideas as far as what we can do to resolve this whole situation.
Oh, I thank you, Mavrick, you know, to keep me at your thinking, you know, for you to run for governor. You know, it's really nice of you to come by, you know, to this place. I've been your friend for a long time. I know you. I know what you've been doing in your life. I appreciate it, and I'm with you 100%. The issues, and with Latinos, you know, there's nobody talking about the real issues. They try to do changes and changes and changes, but they never do any change to either help us or benefit the state, because that's what we want.
Right. I believe the whole point is to benefit what's good for California. The bottom line, it's even though we're here talking about Latino America, but it has to do with, you know, Russians, Italians. I mean, English immigrants, I mean the Chinese, the Taiwanese, it follows on everybody's ground lines of immigrants that have come here, and ethically what have they done since they've been here. And my whole push is that, I mean, I know Trump kind of backed out of it and threw it on Congress, for Congress to make the decision, but we as Californians need to make a more active approach of finding a resolution. And once again, like I told you, it's not about being a Democrat or Republican or a liberal, it's finding a solution. There's so much of these politicians that are in office right now that are looking for resolutions and not solutions. They dance around the situation. They want to put it on someone else's shoulders. Nobody wants to claim it. Nobody wants to claim the solution.
Well, you know, I'm just telling you a little bit about myself. You know, I came in about 32 years ago, and like everybody else, I came in with the thinking of changing my life, helping myself, helping my family. So far, you know, it has worked. I worked. I paid taxes for the last 26 years. I got my record, you know, paying taxes. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends are in the same thing. God helped me, and United States gave me a chance to open my business. Long time ago, I had a business. I got my employees. I always try to do the right things, and I know a lot of people. This issue that you mentioned right now, paying taxes and stuff like that, I believe in that. I pay my taxes. I make sure my employees pay their taxes. And the main thing is what you mentioned right now is Trump opened the door for the Congress to do something about it. I don't think it's going to work. You know, Trump has to step in and enforce the laws that are in. The only thing I think, you know, that I will change about it, if it was something that we could do, is instead of going to everybody in particular, is what he's doing, going against criminals. I'm all for that. If you come in, check my record, check my employees, and if one of my employees committed a felony or not paying taxes, get him out of here. I'll help you in the personal level, you know. So California is giving sanctuary to everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, I would love California to give sanctuary to people who's not doing crimes, who's not committing crimes, who's paying taxes, who's not living off the government. You know, just taking money like for nothing, and just because you're poor. There's no poor people. The poor people is the people that doesn't want to work. There's a lot of work. It's a lot of work in California, and if there's people that can find work and they really need the help, let's help them. I'm not saying that everybody just munching out of the government, but 80% of the people.
Well, the truth is, but there is, you know, there's a lot of them, you know, and we shouldn't down a community or a certain race that's ethically working hard. They're working in these fields. They're doing some of the work that some of these quote Americans or U.S. citizens don't even want to do, and they're having an active part of that. And I agree with you saying on that. If you're committing felonies and you're dealing drugs and you're causing chaos, then you got to go. But if you're working hard for the betterment of California, regardless what your race is, and we've allowed that for this so many years, that we need to work on some type of program that's going to enable these people to continue to stay here in California and to have that American dream.
Yeah, the American dream for everybody who comes to this country, that's what it is. Owning your own house, working or having a business, better your life. So whoever, the people that is already there, okay, why gonna bother them? There's people that I know that have been here illegally for 40 years. They cannot do nothing about it. They own companies, they have employees, they pay the taxes. And how you gonna come now to your house and knock on the door and say, you gotta go? Yeah. Even that, that's what I'm trying to say. The government can do something and say, okay, you pay taxes, you have good behavior, okay, and instead of running people or getting people out, no, go over there. This is your work permit, and work out something. Process, yeah. This does not make them a citizens. Of course not. I have to work. I've been here 32 years. I work in my personal level. But there's people that came here 5 years ago. How can they become citizens when there's people waiting? We know. Let's go through the chain, the process, but make everybody, whoever is here, to work and make money in better California, let's make them legal somehow.
Right.
So you can have a license, so you can have insurance, so you can go through the process and the economy is going to flow a little bit more. And instead of keeping them down,
Well, it costs us money to try to keep it down. It costs, the government money to try to send them out. But I agree with you, say 110%. If you're here and you're being productive, we need to start some type of process that gets them on the right to getting citizenship if they choose to stay here in LA or California or the United States. I totally agree with that. And another thing I want to elaborate on with you, you talked about, the welfare, and they said, but there is a lot of lazy people, and there's lazy white, black, there's lazy everything, and I don't want to stigma any one race or creed, but the bottom line is, if you're lazy and you're mooching off the welfare, these are the people that we don't need here, to be honest with you. We need to focus on finding solutions for that, not focusing on trying to get rid of these people in California that are actively working, but for somehow along the way, and it's not their fault, it's the government's fault. We allowed it for all these years. How can you allow a Latino to come here and work for 10 years, start a family, their kids are in school, their kids are having kids, their own business, and then all of a sudden you're going to throw them out because you change your mind? There has to be a solution to that, and I'm all about finding a solution for that. If you're showing an active partisanship in California where you're working, you're paying taxes, you're not committing felonies, and you're working for the betterment of California, there has to be some type of process to get these people legalized.
Yeah, like you say, it's not only about Latinos. There's a lot of races involved. I didn't know that up to 15 years ago. I thought the Latinos were the only illegal aliens here in the United States. But then I learned, from Koreans, Chinese, a lot of people come in here and they overstay their visas. It's not that they came in legally. They overstay their visas, they're working, they have businesses, and they're paying taxes. And when you talk to them, you don't even realize they're still illegally in this country. Right. But those are the people that the government can help so we can produce more. My business is small, 7, 10 employees. I've been doing this for 22 years. I got 2 locations, but when you get to the point of, should I open another location? I'm getting old. Mm-hmm. Whatever savings I can have, I'm afraid of opening another business because if I'm not going to have enough employees.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, do I do it or not? And instead, if I know I can get 5 more guys to open another location somewhere else without having any problems, or have to hire people, or hire people that doesn't have no papers, because in order for me to survive, I will not do it. But that's what I'm saying is, a lot of people's in my shoes. We don't invest more or try to open more because we don't know what's going to happen. We're in a limbo. Right. So business persons, we need the backup of the government to say, okay, this is what's going to happen with everybody else. You have employees, they're working, they're paying taxes. Let's give them a work permit so they can stay here, maybe go back to their families once in a while, and that's it. If they're good 10 years or 5 years, whatever time, that's up to the government to do, and give them a residency maybe, and that's it. Right. But as long as we're legal, licenses, what California did about the license program, it was okay. That was last year, 2 years ago, give licenses, that was perfect. I was all for it because at least you know who's driving a car.
Correct.
You crash against somebody, no insurance, you don't know who it is, what's going to happen, run.
Right.
They leave the scene now, it's becoming a big crime, and with everybody having a license and knowing who's here in the United States, I think it's best for the government, it's better for California. Right now, with all this crisis with taxes, you know, we're paying more taxes, and we need changes.
Yeah.
We need changes. We need somebody who's going to come into the office and don't be afraid.
Well, you heard it live here and direct from Lomita One Stop Shop. I told you, California, I was going to go to the streets, get the people's point of view, and find solutions to our resolutions. We don't need another leader that has been breastfed and just worried about a paycheck his whole life. We need leaderships that have worked with their hands and have solutions for California. To the people, with the people, for the people.
You better ask somebody. Latinos for Mavrick 2018.